Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer Science Academy, Bangalore. This is the topic of the discussion. In this today's topic, we are going to discuss about Cyclone Fengal. Okay, people of Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Kerala might be witnessing severe lower temperatures, might be feeling hard to get out of the bed because of the cold. It is mainly the reason behind such a cold is Cyclone Fengal. Okay, it is not only raining heavily in Bangalore and other parts of southern India, it is also having a severe colds. As a result, people are not able to get out of their bed because it is such a cold weather, and like even traveling outside with a bike and other things feels like a hustle. Okay, the main reason behind all these conditions is Cyclone Fengal. So in today's class, we'll understand what is Cyclone Fengal. Okay, then we'll understand what is cyclones and what are the conditions required for formation of cyclones and what are the stages and how a cyclone is formed, structure of cyclone, and then how the cyclone is named. So in today this is called as Fengal, tomorrow it may be called in different name. So how it is named? So now, so context here is Cyclone Fengal, which is a tropical cyclone, made its landfall over Puducherry. So we'll understand what is landfall also. The name Fengal was proposed by Saudi Arabia and it is of Arabic origin. Okay, so now it has been named by Saudi Arabia. We'll also understand how the naming is also done. Then about, so what is landfall? Landfall is the event of a tropical cyclone coming onto the land after being over water. Okay, normally what happens here is cyclones, especially the tropical cyclones. Tropical cyclones have a origin over, okay, they origin over water. Okay, in this case Cyclone Fengal, its origin was over Bay of Bengal. It originated over Bay of Bengal, so it is of oceanic origin. So once it started originating, it starts moving from that area to another area, right? When it comes and finally falls on the land, it is called as landfall. Okay, so from the ocean till it hits the like from ocean it start or like start formation. Once it gains winds and once it gets velocity, it starts moving towards the land, and once it's reaches the land, it is called as landfall, because over the land it is going to fall, causing rains and many other weather conditions. So here, according to IMD, there is more technical term. According to IMD, a tropical cyclone is said to have made landfall when the center of the storm or its eye moves over the coast. Okay, and the center of the eye or the center of the storm are also called as eye. It moves over the coast. Then it is called as landfall. Landfalls can last for few hours with their exact duration depending on the speed of the winds and the size of the storm system. Okay, the landfall, it can be very dangerous and it can be very mild depending on the speed and size of the or cyclone. Okay, so normally the cyclones in India, western coast and eastern coast, both are prone to cyclones, but this eastern coast is more affected by the cyclones. Okay, it will have more impact and more intensity because at the stage which the cyclones affect western coast, okay, there are stages: birth, like young, like premature, mature, okay, dissipation, etc. In the mature period of the cyclones, the mature period cyclone velocity will be very high, winds will be very high, clouds will be very high. As a result, rainfall will be more. And since it is for and cyclones normally they follow parabolic path like this. They follow parabolic path. So by the time they reach, it will reach at the coast in mature stage. So it is going to rain heavily and the intensity will be very high. Whereas in Bengal, Arabian Ocean region, Arabian Sea region, it is going to form here and it is going to follow a parabolic path. Okay, for parabolic path. By the time it reaches, it will reach mature stage here. By the time it reaches landfall, it will be passing, it is bypassed its mature stage and it will be in the dissipation stage or old age. During its old age, the velocity will be very less, rainfall will be less, clouds will be less. As a result, intensity will be less also. Okay, so the landfall, it depends upon the stage and the velocity at which the cyclone hits the ground. Then, so there is a difference between landfall and direct hit. So landfall is different from the direct hit of the tropical cyclone. A direct hit refers to a situation where the core of high winds or eye wall comes ashore, but the center of the storm remains offshore. Okay, here you have to know about the structure of cyclone. I'll just briefly explain structure. Okay, if this is the cyclone, so it is going to spiral like this. Okay, it is going to spiral like this. So this part is called as eye. Okay, and this part, okay, this region around the eye is called as eye wall. Okay, this is called as eye wall. This eye is has a more intensity. Okay, eye is a more intensity and eye has more velocity. When this eye is on the land, it is called as landfall. In certain cases, this eye wall will come ashore. Eye wall will come ashore, but this core of this cyclone remains on the shore. That type of landfall is called as direct hit. Okay. So if the core is on the land, it is called as landfall. If the core is outside but the eye wall is on the land. So for example, if this is Earth, if this is the India, if this is India, if this is the coast, and rainfall will be like this, right? Cyclone will be like this. So it is the core. Core is still outside, but the eye wall, it is on the land. This is called as direct hit. But if the completely even the core is inside, everything is inside, then it is called as landfall. Okay, not very important, but just so that you know the differences. So direct hit refers to a situation where the core of the high winds comes ashore, but the center of the storm remains offshore. Okay. Then now coming to the cyclone topic. What are cyclones? Cyclones initially are coined from a Greek word called as cyclones. What does it mean? It means coils of a snake. Okay, coils of a snake. So it was initially coined by Henry Paddington because the tropical storms of Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea appear like a coiled serpents in the sea. If you see, it appear like this. It is like a coiled serpents. So he called them as cyclones. Cyclones are powerful rotating storms that form over warm ocean waters. This is very important. Warm ocean waters characterized by low pressure at the center and high winds. Okay, low pressure will be there at the center and high winds will be at the center. And as we move from the center away towards eye wall and to the trailing winds, the velocity goes on decreasing. Then cyclones, atmospheric disturbances. Cyclones are considered as atmospheric disturbances and are rapid inward air circulations around low pressure area. The World Meteorological Organization WMO uses the term tropical cyclone to cover weather systems in which winds exceed gale force. Okay, what is gale force? Gale force is a speed of minimum 34 knots. What is 1 knot? 1 knot is equal to 1.852 kilometers. Okay, so 34 knot is around 58 kilometers. If any atmospheric disturbances, if it reaches the speed or velocity of the winds of 58 kilometers, then it is considered as tropical cyclones by World Meteorological Organization. Then, so how it is characterized by a low pressure point or zone. There is a low pressure point. A low pressure point is present in tropical cyclones. Low pressure zone is present in temperate cyclones. Then a rotation of winds, that is anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise system. Okay, and this will be clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Okay, cyclones and anticyclones. What is cyclones? Cyclones is there is a low pressure, all the winds try to come towards this low pressure. This is called as cyclones. What is anticyclone? There is high pressure and winds try to move away from this high pressure. This is called as anticyclone. In northern hemisphere, if this is equator in northern hemisphere, this movement will be anti-clockwise, whereas anticyclones will be moving in the clockwise direction. In southern hemisphere, it is different. Cyclones will move in a clockwise direction, anticyclones will move in a anticyclonic direction. Okay, so remember just one thing: if it is anticyclone, anti-clockwise in northern hemisphere, then everything will be opposite of it. Okay, then The regional names. These cyclones are remembered by different names in different regions. For example, in Atlantic, in Northern and Pacific, these are called as hurricanes. Okay, in America and Canada, these are called as hurricanes. And in Western Pacific and South China Sea, these are called as typhoons. Okay, China and then Japan, Southeast Asia, they call them as typhoons. And then Indian Ocean and Southern Pacific region are called as tropical cyclones. Okay, very simple name, tropical cyclones. Whereas Australia has a very Western Australia has a very funny name called as Willy Willies. So these are different names of what you say tropical cyclones in world. Then how a cyclone is formed? For a cyclone to form, there has to be some prerequisite conditions. What are the prerequisite conditions? That is, first one is there should be large sea surface with the temperatures higher than 27 degrees Celsius. So maximum temperature should be 27 degrees Celsius. Then there should be presence of Coriolis force. What is Coriolis force? Coriolis force is related to rotation of Earth. Okay, faster the rotation, faster will be the Coriolis force. Then a small variations in the vertical wind speed. Vertical wind speed, there should be very small variations in vertical wind speed. Then there should be pre-existing low pressure area or low level cyclonic circulation. There should be a low lying area or low pressure zone or low pressure point should be present there. Only after the presence of low pressure zone or low pressure point, then it will develop into deep and then cyclone, etc., etc. And upper divergence above the sea level system. If you see these cyclones, they will move like this, and then in the above they will start diverging like this. Okay, this is called as upper divergence. Then these are the preconditions. So first, initially what happens here is it initially forms the low pressure system. This is called as birth of the cyclone. When the air rises up and away from the ocean surface, it creates an area of low pressure area below. And the low pressure area is created, it causes air from the surrounding areas with the higher pressures to move towards the low pressure area, which further leads to warming up of air and causes the rise above. Okay, you know ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತಂತಂದ್ರೆ when the temperature is high, air starts to rise up. ಏರ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ರೈಸ್ ಆಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಝೋನ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್, ಇದು ಲೋವರ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹೈ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಇಂದ ವಿಂಡ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಹತ್ರ ಹೈ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಝೋನ್ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಹೈ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಝೋನ್ ಇದೆ. ಫ್ರಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ವರೆಗೆ ಏರ್ ಮೂವ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಏರ್ ಮೂವ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದು ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಅಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮೂವ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಆಗ್ತಾ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ರೊಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದು ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್. ಇದು ಬರ್ತ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಬರ್ತ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಝೋನ್ ಇಂದ ಸೈಕ್ಲೋನ್ ಬರ್ತ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಸೈಕ್ಲೋನಿಕ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್. Okay, once the low pressure created, once the wind starts moving towards low pressure, it will result in cyclonic circulation. That is, the rotation of Earth or the Coriolis force causes the rising air to start spinning around the low pressure center. This spinning motion leads to the development of cyclonic circulation. Air hatra bartirutte, because of this Coriolis force, air starts spinning around itself. Then as the wind system rotates with the increasing speed, an eye gets formed at the center. In the middle only eye gets formed agutte, and then center of the cyclone is very calm and clear with very low air pressures. The difference of temperature between the warm rising and the cooler environment causes the air to rise and become buoyant. Okay, air starts rising up and it starts becoming buoyant. And then dissipation. A cyclone eventually weaken and dissipate when it moves over the cooler waters, encounters dry air or interacts with the land, which disturb the system supply of warm moist air. Okay, tropical cyclones can normally energy. Okay, normally the energy for tropical cyclones is warm moist airs. When you move from warm moist airs to land, or warm moist airs to dry airs, warm moist airs to any areas with cooler waters, then it is going to die. This is called as dissipation. So this is the complete process of cyclones. So structure of cyclones here is cyclones have a well-defined eye at the center. This is the eye, and which is a relatively calm region characterized by light winds and clear skies. Surrounding the eye is the eye wall, which contains the most intense winds and heaviest rainfalls of the cyclone. Okay, this is the eye, outflow of the shield, and these part eye wall will have the most highest velocity of winds, and it will have more clouds, and it will result in higher amount of rainfall. Okay, as we move away, it is called as trailing winds or trailing bands, are also called as spiral underbands, and they will move out and then they will fall down. Then they act as a feed to the system again, like this. So it is a closed system. Understood, right? So they are going to rise up, and then the air is going to descend down, then it acts as a feed back to the same cyclone system. Okay, then so this is the cyclones, like in the larger picture: eye, eye wall, outflow and subsiding warm air, descending cool air. Okay, as I said, and then our descending cool air is going to feed back into the system again. Okay, so this completes a closed system. This is a structure of cyclone from cross section. Then stages of cyclones. Okay, I already explained this one. I'll just try to explain briefly. First stage is birth. From low pressure to depression. In the birth, what happens here is there will be low pressure zone. The low pressure zone will convert into depression. And in juvenile stages, convergence of smaller winds around the depression. The depression will be there, and then wind starts to converge around it. Okay, wind start to converge around it. Premature, that is the stage where the patterns of clouds and rainfall on the high winds start appearing around the cyclone. This is cyclones where like cloud starts appearing. Mature is clearly differentiated structure with extremely high winds, and these are the most destructive. Velocity will be high, clouds will be high, and moisture will be high. These are the more destructive. And dissipation, death after landfall or death after it comes in contact with the more cooler waters, because for a cyclone to form you need warmer waters. Okay, this is stages of cyclone. And then there are different types of classifying cyclones, okay, based on the speed. Type of disturbances: if it is just a low pressure disturbances, its wind speed will be less than 31 km. If it is a depression, it will be 31 to 49 kilometers. This is according to World Meteorological Organization. Then deep depression, 49 to 61 km. Cyclonic storm, 61 to 88 km. Severe cyclonic storm, 88 to 170 kilometers. And super cyclonic storm, this is more than 220 kilometers. And these are the most destructive. And presently Fengal is at this severe cyclonic storm. Okay, Fengal had the landfall when it was a severe cyclonic storm. It didn't convert into complete super cyclonic storm. If it had completed into super cyclonic storm and if it had then made a landfall, it would have been more disastrous. Okay, just imagine, in the severe cyclonic storm itself, it is causing so much of damage to more than 4 states. But if it fell down in the super cyclonic storm, it is going to cause more damage to coastal areas and other regions. Okay, so that is very destructive in nature. So nomenclature. Okay, so how the cyclones are named? The names are maintained and updated by International Committee of the World Meteorological Organization. There is a committee of World Meteorological Organization. So cyclones in the northern Indian Ocean regions are named by specialized meteorological centers, that is RSMCCs, Regional Specialized Meteorological Centers, in India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Oman, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Each country contributes names to a list used on the rotating basis. The primary reason for naming cyclones is to make communication easier, more efficient. Okay, because certain name can be more common in India, but that name is not very common in Saudi Arabia. So Fengal, for say, it is more common in Saudi Arabia. So it was made possible, like the reason behind nomenclature is that it can easily be made aware to the people. But here what happened is, Fengal, though it was named by Saudi Arabia, it is having impact on India. Okay, so there was mishaps also. There was Cyclone As. Okay, there was Cyclone As. It was named by Pakistan, but it had impact on Bangladesh. Then there was a cyclone named as Titli. It was named by Pakistan. It had impact on Pakistan itself. So these naming nomenclature changes between different countries to countries. Okay, this is about today's topic. Very important topic, especially from UPSC prelims as well as mains. Okay, mains there can be direct questions, but in prelims there can be questions based on the structure or as well conditions of cyclones. Okay, if you gained anything out of this video, do hit the like button and then share with your friends also and comment on the video. If you are new to the channel, subscribe to it and also click on the bell icon so that you don't miss notifications. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.